Hey, this is Doc Erik. Welcome to my YouTube neighborhood, the channel where we give you one mindset tip and one body set tip, not only to take with you throughout today's video, but also later in life as well. Today we're going to be talking about, do carbohydrates make you fat? So let's go ahead and jump in. The topic of carbohydrates is very, very important, and we hear about it all the time. Everybody knows that one person that can eat a ton of carbohydrates and not seem to gain a pound, and we also know that other person on the opposite end of the spectrum who barely eats any carbohydrates and is also gaining the weight, and they just can't figure out how. So most of us tend to fall into somewhere in the middle in terms of that over and that under. So what I want to talk about today is the concept of, not only do carbohydrates make you fat, but are you somebody who is an overconsumer of carbohydrates or somebody who is an underconsumer of carbohydrates, and how that might be negatively impacting the results that you're looking to get out of your own body. So here we go. So when we look at carbohydrates through the lens of somebody who overeats or somebody who undereats, typically what we're looking at is, if you are a undereater, this is somebody who has either been dieting for a long period of time or somebody who is consuming a low carbohydrate diet. This is problematic because if you're somebody who routinely is reducing your carbohydrates or you're reducing your nutritional total, you're starting to slow down your metabolism, and this basically puts your body into what I like to call power save mode. So what happens is your body says, well, because we're getting less calories, I have to slow the entire process down, so that way you're going to start to feel lethargic, your energy levels are going to be very, very low, you're going to start to have negative impacts on your thyroid as well as your adrenal function, and you're going to have those mental fatigues and that mental fogginess. Sleep is going to be in the toilet, and those are things that you don't want long term. So this is an example of an undereater of a carbohydrate. The way to fix someone like this is to kind of take an overview of what it is that they're trying to accomplish and achieve. And these individuals typically are going to start to titrate up their carbohydrates slowly over time in a manageable way that's trackable, so that they slowly start to get their energy levels back up. They start to balance and normalize those hormones that have been out of swing, and they start to gain healthy body weight while maintaining their body composition and not putting on the wrong kind of weight. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have those who overconsume carbohydrates. These are people that might be upwards of 200, 250, or even 300 carbohydrates a day. Now, these individuals, they can typically get away with it because they're someone who's either physically active, somebody who has a physically demanding job, somebody who goes to the gym routinely and works out very vigorously, or it's a combination of all the above. So these individuals are able to get away with eating more carbohydrates because when we utilize our muscles contain muscle glycogen, which is the preferred fuel source of the body for most of us. What ends up happening is, after a physical exertion of whatever it is that you do, your body has depleted the carbohydrate stores, and then by consuming carbohydrates, you're actually allowing the muscle tissues to replenish their stores. So the more you work out, the more carbohydrates your body is going to demand. If you are somebody who is sedentary, but you're also eating the same kind of lifestyle and you're not working out, you're not going to the gym, then you're going to slowly start to see your body accumulate extra pounds in terms of body fat, because you're consuming calories, but you're not burning them off. So your body basically stores them because it has nothing else to do with it. So for these individuals, one of the fixes would be to slowly titrate them down in terms of their carbohydrate consumption, and slowly find a way that they still feel full and satiated without them gaining those additional pounds. So let's wrap things up by talking about the different types of carbohydrates, and how, if you're an overeater, or how, if you are an undereater, how do we kind of help you somewhere in the middle. So first thing we want to talk about is your fast versus your slow digesting carbohydrates. These are important because if you're looking to replenish the muscle glycogen stores first and fastest, you want something that's an easy digestible carbohydrate. So something like a piece of fruit, whatever kind of fruit that you prefer, or you can use something like an oatmeal as well. These are very easy ways to get those calories in, and it also helps to replenish those glycogen stores. If you're looking for something post-physical exertion or post-workout, maybe kind of the meal after that meal, what you'd be looking at is something that's a little bit more of a complex carbohydrate. These are important because they add for bulk satiety. They usually have a little bit more fiber, and because of the way that they're created, our body breaks them down a little bit slower, so it allows you to feel fuller longer, right? We've all eaten a piece of fruit and you're probably hungry 30 minutes later. Whereas we've all eaten a bowl of oatmeal, and that 30 minutes maybe turns into 90 minutes or possibly a little bit longer. And we're just talking pure carbohydrates here. My personal recommendation is to always combine a little bit of fat, a little bit of protein with your carbohydrate, in order to really round out your nutritional profile. That way you're not continuing to return back to the fridge or grabbing another piece of fruit and another piece of fruit. With our athletes, we typically have them do a combination of fast and slow digesting carbohydrates. So they'll typically have some sort of piece of fruit, and they'll also have something that's a little bit more slower digesting, as well as a protein complex to that helps them to feel fuller longer. If we talk about the fiber content of our carbohydrates, this is important as well. We typically find these more in our fruits as opposed to something that is synthetic. And we're also looking at our vegetables as well. So you have things like your cruciferous vegetables, your broccolis, your cauliflowers, as well as your dark leafy green vegetables, and pretty much anything that you can find in the grocery aisle. If you're somebody who has digestive issues, or if you have gas or bloating with your consumption of vegetables, you may want to par cook them or apply heat in some meaningful way, like a stir fry or oven baked, and that'll help to break them down a little bit so that it's easier in your digestion, as well as helping keep you fuller for longer. So regardless if you are a carbohydrate overeater or if you're a carbohydrate undereater, the bottom line answer is both can make you fat, but what we're looking at is we're looking at trying to find where it is on that spectrum that you fall, so that we can best kind of help rein you in to back to where you want to be in terms of your body composition or your weight goals or your measurements, things like that. Typically what I'll tell people is when you've made a decision to change, congratulations, number one, but also don't forget too that you want to track these in a very easy and meaningful way. That's something that you can be compliant with. So some people, it's easy stepping on the scale once a week. Some people like to take measurements of things like the waist, things like the thighs, upper body, torso, arms, things like that. And other people, they'll use a piece of clothing. So maybe it's a shirt, maybe it's a pair of pants. If you are heading in the right direction, your energy levels are going to be balanced, your hormone levels are going to be balanced, and your clothes should start to be fitting you pretty well. You may start to notice possibly not a scale change right away, but you may start to notice that you're taking inches off your body, and that should make you pretty darn happy. So there we have it. We discussed about, do carbohydrates make you fat? And the answer is, as always, it does depend, but hopefully we gave you some good tips. Don't forget to comment down below and share some of the things that you've done to really help transform your body. I love reading those comments, and it helps me learn more about what you guys are looking for in terms of these videos. Also, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. I love getting new visitors to our channel. It helps me generate new content and things that you guys are interested in. And until next time, stay healthy.